Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ghazali, 1917 to 1996, was a prominent Egyptian Islamic thinker and preacher, considered one of the most important figures in the renewal of Islamic thought in the 20th century. He was distinguished by his eloquent literary style and moderate discourse, which he used to confront intellectual stagnation and despotism. He left behind a vast legacy of seminal works. He memorized the Holy Quran in his youth and attended Al-Azhar University in Egypt, eventually graduating from the Faculty of Theology in Cairo. He rose through the ranks at Al-Azhar and the Egyptian Ministry of Religious Endowments, serving as an imam and preacher, and later as Director General of Dawah, Islamic propagation. He also taught at several Arab universities, most notably al-Qura University in Mecca. He was known for his moderate religious thought and his sharp criticism of extremism and fanaticism, as well as his criticism of rigidity and blind imitation, calling for an understanding of the objectives of Islamic law and connecting religion to contemporary life. Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ghazali authored dozens of books addressing issues of Islam, society, creed, and Sharia, and defended Islam against the criticisms of Orientalists. He passed away on March 9, 1996, in Saudi Arabia, while participating in an Islamic conference in Riyadh, and was buried in the Baqi cemetery in Medina. A book entitled, This Is Our Religion, by Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ghazali. Introduction. I wrote this book in response to a generous request. A high-ranking official asked me to compile a comprehensive book on the teachings of Islam, encompassing all its truths, free from unfamiliar terminology, and presented in a style appropriate to our time in terms of persuasion and understanding. He said, I want it to be concise, clear, and comprehensive, so that if someone who knows nothing about Islam were to read this book, they would find a complete picture of it. And if it were translated into another language, its speakers would learn everything that needs to be known about this religion. I accepted this commission while pondering how to fulfill it. I have addressed many Islamic topics, and my writings are familiar to a wide readership. Should I summarize here what I have already detailed? That would be a daunting task for any writer. However, producing a comprehensive book on the branches of faith and the laws of religion is a beneficial endeavor and a proposal worthy of appreciation. And I resolved to embark upon this duty. When I took up my pen to write these lines, I was mindful of two things. One, to present clear and comprehensive summaries of the truths of Islam that I have previously discussed, while adding new evidence that strengthens and reinforces these truths. Two, to include other areas of research and study that would help fulfill my initial desire and, with God's help, make these few pages a beautiful and illuminating representation of this great religion. And I hope that I have been blessed with God's favor and His pleasure for this humble effort. Islam is a just cause, but unfortunately, it has fallen into the hands of incompetent advocates. I often listen to speakers on Islam, and I wish they would remain silent. Most of them don't understand the religion as it was revealed by God, and the few who do understand it can't explain it in an acceptable way. All of this is happening in times when trivial principles are adorned and presented to people in cunning embellishments, like an old woman hiding behind a veil of makeup, clothes, jewelry, and coquetry. People are naturally hostile to what they don't understand. Consider the grave shortcoming Muslims commit if they don't explain their religion accurately and fairly, without adding to it or subtracting from it, an explanation based solely on clarifying the truth. For truth, when it is clear, has a radiance that attracts eyes and hearts. The younger generations are in dire need of understanding Islam in accessible language and with clear meaning. Perhaps ancient books were useful in the eras in which they appeared. And perhaps the problems they addressed concerned people who have passed on, along with their spiritual and material struggles. But our children and brothers today are in dire need of a deep understanding of their religion that will fill the palpable psychological void and refute the doubts fabricated by the purveyors of atheism and moral decay after the recent encroachment of colonialism upon our lands. If Muslims in the late 4th century needed someone to write a book called Revival of Religious Sciences, let us learn from this that religious knowledge can wither with the passage of time, the dominance of whims, and the prevalence of frivolity, to the point that it needs someone to revive it after it has withered. It is the right of Islam upon its followers to confront the world with the timeless heritage. Indeed, we have a book whose freshness never fades and whose wealth never diminishes. We have a prophethood whose life is inspired and whose traditions are pure. How then can we stray from these guiding lights, or feel alienated in this turbulent world? The affliction of religious education is a dulled insight that cannot fathom the depths of truth, for it is incapable of doing so due to its limitations, just as one with a cold cannot perceive the beautiful scents in a fragrant garden. Here, we have done nothing more than remove the veil from our eyes so that we may see reality as it truly is. We have not brought anything of our own making, but rather, we have presented the words of God and His Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, within a framework whose primary and ultimate purpose is to reveal the unvarnished truth. And God is the source of all success. This is the introduction to the book. This is Our Religion, by Sheikh Muhammad Al-Ghazali.